Will, Coach was speaking about just, some stuff after the tape that, you feel like the offense could get cleaned up. I mean, all phases could get cleaned up. Where did you kind of see, some things from that first game that you feel like your side of the ball can clean up as well?
I mean, more so just like fine details on some things. I mean, obviously there's some plays you want back. There's like some reads you want back, and I mean maybe a play call or two some you would want back. But it's going to happen. I think the more we can just kind of minimize those things, and the biggest thing for us is just get better week to week. Obviously we made some mistakes, and mistakes are going to happen. But the more you can minimize those, and the better you can get week to week, I think the better position we'll be in as an offense.
Been a long time since you played wide receiver. I know you caught a pass last year.
22 years.
But when this dynamic with you and Mike, I mean, when you guys are around, it seems that you guys have good chemistry, and it's about making the team better. But how eager are you to maybe add some wrinkles with you both guys out there on the field?
Yeah, I mean, that's probably the beginning of it, of what you saw Saturday in terms of the two quarterback package. But I think any way you can really put stress on defense, and whatever it may be, whether it be two quarterback or a different personnel with two running backs in the game, whatever it may be, is what you're choosing to do offensively. I mean, anytime you can really put stress on the defense, that's what you want to do. So, I said after the game Saturday, as a player, I'm a player. I'm not a coach. I don't get to say what I want to happen. So, anytime that our coaching staff comes up with a good plan, I'm all ears and I'm all in behind it.
Well, you guys played pretty well against Arizona last season. What do you remember about some of the concepts that they had on the defensive side? And if you've watched the film this year, are some of those things the same? Are they changing things up? What have you kind of seen from Arizona on the defensive side?
Yeah, there's some similar things. Schematically, there's some similar things. I know they've had quite a few transfers come in and play some valuable minutes for them, so you'll see some new faces. I know both corners are gone, and both new corners. But I think the biggest thing that's really stood out is how mobile they are, really in their front seven. So they really move around really, really good. They have a really high motor defensively. So we're going to have our hands full come Saturday, and we need a great week of practice.
As someone who kind of experienced it your freshman year, just how valuable is it for guys like Creed to have a game of actual film to use as they kind of progress through the rest of their freshman season?
No, it's huge, and obviously Creed's first performance went a little better than mine did as a freshman. But I think anytime you can get in there and get live game reps, that's very valuable for the years to come. So obviously he needs to keep getting better, and that starts today. That starts the rest of this week. But I definitely think Creed has a bright future.
Will, right here. You mentioned after the game Saturday just Barbez said before about wearing down a defense. As the game goes on, when you see an offensive line, even though the opponent's an FCS opponent, just wear down a defensive line, be able to run the ball as much as you guys did in the second half. Just what goes through your mind as a quarterback with that?
I mean, it's extremely encouraging. Obviously, I think I've said this before. My job as a quarterback is not just to throw for as many yards as I can, as many touchdowns as I can. I think my job as a quarterback is to really motivate the other 10 in the huddle. So, anytime I can get, the offensive line jacked up and, ready to go and ready to run the ball, I think I'm doing my job just as much as I was if I was, throwing for a bunch of yards. So, I think we have a great group of offensive linemen. I think they do a really good job. They really work hard, in the week, in practice. And that's a credit to Coach Friend and Coach Schmidt, really pushing those guys hard during the week in practice, so that they're able to, sustain that come Saturday and really kind of grind guys down on the defensive line. So, I think they've done a great job, and I think they need to have another great week at practice so we can execute on Saturday.
Woody obviously had a monster game. I know how close you guys are as well, together all throughout these last few years. How kind of crucial is he, do you think, to this offensive success, and how have you kind of seen him kind of get better, not even just on the field game-wise, but in practice and over the years?
No, Woody's a guy that really personifies what we want to do here at Mississippi State. He's a guy that really doesn't say a whole lot. He just kind of works. That's who we want to be here at Mississippi State. That's how we want to work. Coach Arnett literally had like a highlight clip maybe Thursday of last week. I don't know when it was. Thursday or Friday of last week of just Woody on one specific drive, and he only touched the ball once. So, that tells you a lot about Woody. You go 8 plays, you touch the ball once, but he's doing his job as hard as he can every single play. So, that really says a lot about Woody. And, no surprise to me at all of how much success he's having on Saturdays. So, like every position on our team, we have to continue to get better. But Woody's definitely a huge leader for us and a huge component to our offense.
Real quick before my question, Woody said after the game Saturday that he wants to see you run a go route. You think you have that in your
Yeah, I got it. I can do that. I can do it if I need to.
And then we saw you guys go for fourth down, I think once or twice in the game. I'm just curious, at this point in your career, how much pull or conversation do you have in those decisions with Coach Barbe or Coach Arnett?
I don't know how much pull I have in that decision. That's probably more to Coach Arnett. But, I think Coach Arnett and I have a kind of a similar mindset on some things, and we both can kind of feel the game and feel it out of like, all right, let's go for this. We're on the plus side of our field. We've hit some plays, but now we've maybe missed a couple play or two, so we're moving the ball. But, I think it'd be a good idea to go for it. Just, kind of bouncing ideas off of each other or whatever. But ultimately, that's Coach Arnett's decision for sure.
Coach Arnett had just said that he expects Savion to be back on Saturday. It's just how much can a guy like that add to the offense, considering what we saw in the spring game from him?
Mm-hmm. No, we're really excited to have him back. He's an explosive guy that can really run great routes and can really put a lot on stress on defenses. So I'm definitely excited he'll be back, and I'm hoping he can play some valuable minutes for us. Thank y'all.
How's it going?
Going back looking at the film, how would you kind of assess, your unit's performance?
I think overall we did pretty good. Got some things to clean up and things to definitely build on, but overall, pretty solid.
We were talking to your coach. He was really pleased with the fact that there were no false starts, no procedure penalties. He said, especially in the offensive line. Was that really a concern going into the first game?
I think the first week of the season, you see a lot of that stuff going on. And Coach Barbe kind of touched on that a little bit in practice. But actually, it was funny. I didn't even realize that we had no, false starts and anything like that. And I thought about it after the game. I was like, wow, we really don't have any bad penalties. So it's pretty cool. Pretty good.
Everyone's been asking coaches about the new clock rules. As a player, are you noticing that it's quicker, or is there any kind of real change in the game for you?
Other than the TV timeouts, it's just kind of like we get out there, we're ready to go, and then it's like, all right, TV timeout. We're all like, oh, God, I got to wait there for another 3 minutes. So it's kind of annoying, but not too much of a big difference. So.
Even though it was against an FCS team as an offensive line, and seeing you guys as a group be able to wear down their defense towards the second half and be able to run the ball as much as you guys did, just how much confidence does that instill in you guys as a group?
Yeah, a lot. It's awesome to just get out there and, just run through them and wear them down over the course, 4 quarters, Like the first half and first kind of couple drives, that might not show, but when you get to the third quarter and the fourth quarter, that's really going to show on a defense, no matter who it is, so.
How were the checks going? I know you and Cole both over the course of your career, you've had to kind of call protections and things like that. How are you guys handling that? How do you feel like things went on Saturday?
I think it went really well. We kind of just, go over through the week and just kind of for certain plays, we have certain things we got to check, and, I kind of keep him in check sometimes. If he messes up, I got to be like, hey, that's not right, we got to do this. And then if I'm at center and whenever he's at guard, he does the same thing for me. So it's good to have each other.
What do you remember from Arizona's defensive front last year, and have you had a chance to look at them this year and what they do? Because Coach was talking about how aggressive and multiple they can be.
Yeah. I remember, last year they played a little bit of Okie front more than Southeastern Louisiana did. And I think I was just talking to Will, they bring down certain looks as far as like safeties and mics go, but other than that, I'm not really sure. I haven't looked at them too much, so.
Stephen, we saw you guys have a lot of different offensive line combinations, played a lot of guys there. Coach Arnett mentioned that, it's going to be a constant competition, these next few weeks. Does that competition, help you guys just, stay fighting for your spot?
Definitely. I think competition's always good, no matter if it's in fall camp or during the season, just kind of keep the guys kind of working as hard as they can. So it's always good. All right, thank you.
What's that? I'm great. I'm great.
Well, Ron, how do you think the new look tight end group performed? After going back and watching the film, kind of assignment wise and blocking wise.
Yeah, I'm really proud of the way that Tone and Malik set the tone for the season. In the first game, they did a great job in their roles, and I'm really proud of them, especially for both of their first games playing as a tight end. I was really proud of them, and just looking forward to building on that this next few weeks.
As someone who's in that position group, I guess, just how tough was it to hear last week that, the NCAA's ruling on Spivey, and how have you seen him kind of stay involved even though he's not, able to be on the field right now? Yeah,
that's a great question. He's been a great teammate throughout the whole process, and, we love Spivey. He's an unbelievable human and a great player, and, we're supporting him throughout this, and just thankful that he's still a part of the team, and just being here and with the guys and still holding a little bit of a leadership role, because he's important to us, so.
How would you grade your own play in the first game, especially going from, say, the first quarter on through the rest of the game?
Yeah, that's a great question. I think I struggled a little bit early. Definitely nervous. Heard some cowbells, and I was like, man, this is awesome. But, as the game went on, settled down a little bit. But really excited to build on this next week in practice. And, every game's a learning experience, so looking forward to building upon it.
You talked a lot about, with yourself and Spivey coming in this year about kind of wanting to create a culture and, a tight end room that, hasn't been here the last couple of years. Just, I guess, how do you, see the success of that? Do you feel like that's kind of starting to build, as the season kind of begins for y'all?
Yeah, that's a great question. I think that we're starting to build an identity in that tight end room, and Coach Schmidt's doing a really good job of implementing that in us, of just toughness. And his thing is be the hardest working position group on the field at all times. And so that's what the culture we're trying to create in that room, and it's definitely starting to get established.
Not a lot of passes thrown the tight end's way this past weekend, but a bit of a paycheck there to see offense run for 300 yards. I mean, how much pride do you guys take in that?
Man, we saw that the 300 bill get put up on the scoreboard, and we were really excited. That's something we wanted to do, is establish the line of scrimmage, and so as a part of the tight end position, that's big for us, and we were really pumped to see that. That's as good as a touchdown or 300-yard passing game for us. We want to smash mouth football, and so that's what we were very pumped about that.
Just to kind of follow up on that, I guess, just how much do the people in your tight end room kind of buy into the notion of, maybe what you do doesn't show up on a stat sheet, but, tight end has a various roles that could, make a difference any given play? Yeah, that's a great question. I've been very honest about that, since being here, that the guys in that tight end room have bought into everything that coaches asked them to do, especially with a lot of the guys never playing tight end before until this past year. And so that's something, that buy-in from the culture has carried over to, as well as the stat sheet. It doesn't matter what the stat sheet looks like. We got the dub, we got 300 yards rushing, and we were really pumped about that. Cool, thank you.
Big Kim, obviously a new look secondary, a lot of moving pieces out there. How do you feel like the group kind of communicated and kind of executed the game plan as a secondary this past weekend?
I feel as if we did a good job, but I feel like there's a lot of things we can improve on.
Back here. How you doing? So your coach was basically talking about kind of defensively that through watching the tape, you'd like to kind of see guys play harder. Do you kind of agree with that assessment? And overall, as kind of a unit, where would you kind of like to see you guys take a step forward this weekend?
Yeah, I think we should like play with that chip on our shoulder that we always play with, play that dog mentality.
After looking at the film, I mean, what are some things that you feel like you guys did well, and what do you need to get better at this week?
I feel like we did a lot of good things, such as like communicating. There was one we did good at communication, but I feel like we still need to come out and execute at a higher level.
Coach Arnett said, defense needs to run and tackle a lot better. I mean, how much of that did you see on film, and how quickly can you clean that up?
I seen a lot of it, but I still haven't seen. Well, we normally come in and we just take over guys and take their wheel. That's what we need to get at.
You spent the last few years, obviously, in that cornerbacks room with, Cy Spurge. I guess just how much confidence, chemistry do you guys have playing on the field together now?
We got a lot of chemistry together because we've been together for a little while, and their connections there. So.
You had a chance to get a win last year in Tucson, and they got a lot of the same players back this year: McMillan and Cowling, and obviously Jaden DeLaura. But what do you remember about Arizona, and what have you seen maybe on film so far to kind of get you ready for this weekend?
I remember they do a lot of scrambling. That quarterback, he like to scramble a lot, and we gonna get ready, go to practice, and prepare.
DeMonte, now that you've had a chance to watch a film, how would you kind of grade the defensive line, and more specifically, how you feel like you played, especially against the run?
I think I played pretty well. As far as a grade, I give us, I say A minus, because I know we could do better. I mean, especially what we got coming up this week. This game was just to see where we was at, and only thing we got to do is just critique it and throw it away and get ready for next week.
A minus is pretty solid grade. Your coach was in here saying that he was very pleased with the result, but there's a lot of things you all need to work on defensively. He said he'd kind of like to see you guys play harder. Did you kind of agree with that assessment? And if you do, what kind of goes into motivating the guys to be able to do that?
Yeah, most definitely. He just want us to just pursue to the ball even more, strain, get that extra effort each and every play. It's just something we got to do better at practice on, just pursuing and running and flying around as a whole defense.
When Nate Pickering is operating so much room occupying so much room in the middle and getting in the backfield as much as he did on Saturday, how much does that just open things up on the defensive line for the rest of you guys?
It opens up a lot because we know that, especially what we got coming up this week, a QB would like to scramble. I mean, it's a big opportunity for other guys to get sacks, and Nate Pickering himself could keep doing his thing, because it's who he is.
You guys got, Power 5 opponent coming in. It's going to be a night game. I guess as a veteran guy, how do you kind of balance, wanting to feed off the energy, but also not, trying to do too much at certain times?
It's the way I like to play. I like the energy. Without the fans, it's nothing. It's nothing in Davis Wade. I try to be locked in at the same time, but not just get too hyped. Because Coach Turner, he don't like a little bit too much celebration. He try to tell us, like, lock back in. I got you, Coach. We got to bring the energy, though,
it's just what it is.
Last year, at times, mobile quarterbacks kind of gave you guys some trouble when things kind of broke down. And you got DeLaura, looks like he's dropped some weight, looks even faster than last year. How do you keep a guy like him in the pocket? How do you prevent him from getting out and kind of playing backyard football?
It's the game plan within a week, so we just got to know what keep him in the pocket. Like I said, like Nathan Pickering and Crum up the middle, edges, pressure in the pocket in him, and then it happens up there. So it's just all within game planning. It's nothing hard. It's just we got to be more prepared than we was last year. That's all.
Monte, we talked about this in camp, but you got to see a lot of new guys on the defensive line backing you guys up, like Dink and Trey. Deontay got some reps second half. How do you think those guys ended up doing in their first game?
It was real shocking to see some of them guys come out and perform. I mean, we know what they can do. It's just they got to bring up more because we gonna need some more. Help within depth to hold that steady pace within the D line and up front. So it was very exciting to see them guys get out there and play and just have fun and make plays. That's no problem. Thank you.